Yo! What's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. I appreciate everybody for taking time out of their busy schedules to rock and roll with us here as we break down everything surrounding this football team. We're going to talk about Wink Martindale. We're going to talk about Brian Daboll. We're also going to go through my perfect offseason, as if I sat down in the seat of Joe Schoen and I was calling the shots for this football team. I have a 10-step plan to help put the Giants back on track to get back to being that organization that is respected in the NFL. Also, we're going to go through some draft targets because the Giants are cemented into the number 6 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. So I'm going to show you 6 guys that I would like the Giants to focus in on. Joe Schoen in the past has talked about when he picked at 5 and when he picked at 7 the first year that he had 7 guys that he loved and he would have been excited to take at pick number 5 or pick number 7. So we're going to apply that same type of thoughts here with 6 players. We also got a mailbag coming up, and I'm excited to go through this perfect offseason plans. We're talking Saquon Barkley. We're talking Xavier McKinney, defensive coordinator hire, offensive line coach hire, a lot of stuff to get into. But I want to open the show by asking this question. The biggest news right now around this team is Wink Martindale resigning, but he hasn't submitted his resignation letter, and he's on his way to Florida. He was seen in an airport today flying to Florida, was still wearing the New York Yankees fitted, but no Giants cutoff sweatshirt. He was, of course, wearing the white tight long sleeve NFL shirt underneath. So he's out. Who do you want to be the next guy? I'll give shout-outs to people that give comments in Marsh's interview stream. I'm not sure what that means. Now I do. We're getting a Wink. You want Wink back? Well, that ain't going to happen. I think there is less than a 1% chance that Wink Martindale and Brian Daboll will be able to mend that relationship. Got some people in the chat saying Antonio Pierce. Quincy, what up, Q, is rolling with Gerard Mayo. I included him in my video yesterday. I think he should get an interview. I would at least see where he's at. I'm not sure he's in my top 3, though. Jay Gruden, LOL. If not Wink, Louis Tank Dickens, says AP. I like Adrian Peterson. I'm a fan of Antonio Pierce. Once a Giant, always a Giant. I absolutely believe in that. But for what I want in this defensive coordinator hire is someone that's been there and done that. And I know that Antonio Pierce has a stranglehold around that Raiders locker room right now. He is a respected figure. The players want him to be the head coach. And I think him being a player helps him relate to players. And I really like that out of my coordinators. But I'm looking for a guy that's been a coordinator before. I want someone that's done this job already at the highest degree in this league. And that's why Mike Zimmer is my number 1 defensive coordinator hire for the New York Giants. But I want to go to kind of this rumor that is somewhat surrounding Wink Martindale and Brian Daboll. So the Giant Insider podcast and newspaper, they're a credentialed Giants media member. They've been covering this team forever, and they tweeted this out earlier today. The Giants haven't made an official announcement on Wink. Why? Well, Wink Martindale stormed out of the meeting with Brian Daboll, and they couldn't get in touch with him last night, and from what I understand, still haven't as of this morning. So until Wink officially resigns or come back, we wait. Wink talked about the love for the organization, Mars and Tish, but the storming out of the meeting, not being in touch with Joe, Dabes, come on now. You're not happy, fine, say thank you, and move on. So we get that. But then yesterday, on the timeline, this screenshot of this text message conversation went viral. I do not know if it is real. I am going to present the information. I will let you make your decision. But this is what is floating around as a potential conversation. Someone texted someone and said, you're a big G-Men fan, right? Got some insider news. Don't expect Wink there much longer. Daboll is keeping Wink, but just fired Andrew Wilkins, the outside linebacker coach. Wink is drafting his resignation call to the GM as we speak. When Daboll told Wink that's what he's doing, he stood up and yelled, fuck you to him. He said he has no idea how to run an offense, and they never gained a fucking yard against him in practice and told him to rot in hell and stormed out. But he replied and said, ha ha ha, I believe all of this. Yes, I'm a diehard Giant fan. Who did this come from, if you don't mind me asking? My good friend, his best friend, is Kevin Wilkins, so directly from the source. Whoa, that sounds about right. And Drew and Kevin have been with Wink since the Ravens. Going to be a good New York Post story by tomorrow. I'm not saying it's real. I'm not saying it's fake. Just wanted to bring this on the show. It's circulating right now around Giants Twitter. But I do know this. Wink Martindale and Brian Daboll do not like each other right now. I'm not sure that relationship could be mended. And I don't think Brian Daboll or Wink Martindale, for that matter, want to work together going forward. Wink is gone. We're going to be looking for a new DC. Hopefully it's Mike Zimmer, Andre Patterson, or Antonio Pierce. Those are the three guys that I want to take that job. I'm kind of over talking about Wink. Yesterday, we talked about it for 3 videos. You can go watch that and get my thoughts on that. I think they both fumbled. I think Brian Daboll fumbled the bag, but I also think Wink may be a little bit of a problem child. He left the Baltimore Ravens due to a situation like this. So it is what it is. Chalk it up, move on, and go get somebody better. How about that? How about you go get somebody better? That'd be pretty fucking cool. Gilly coming in with a $2 super chat. What up, Gilly? Streets say the Bears are trading down. Trader Joe, where are you at? Joe Shane, he has made a couple of moves, and especially some nice trades since he's become the general manager of this football team. We're going to talk about a trade that I would actually make. A trade that I would make for the Giants to move up in the NFL draft. We'll talk about that in a little bit. JJ. Oh, man, I'm not sure how would you say that, Patrick Seaman? Jaquicks?
Jaquicks.
J-Quicks?
Juquicks?
I don't know if that's it. Jay Quicks, though, coming in with a $5 super chat. Appreciate you hanging out with us, supporting the channel. It means a lot, Brody. If you got a comment, question, or a thought, just drop it in the comment section, and we'll talk about it. Also, if you want to get your question on the mailbag, go ahead and comment down below. Include the hashtag Giants just like this on your screen. That way, producer Patrick Seatman can get it up on show, and we could talk about it. Because right now, there are a number of things that you could talk about with the Giants. Quarterback, offensive line, free agency, trade targets, coaching staff hires, and so much more. So get your question in. The offseason is the time to talk about all this kind of stuff. I always said during the season, we'll talk about offseason stuff in the offseason. Well, we're here. We didn't make the playoffs. It's day 2 of the NFL offseason, day 2 of year 3, offseason 3 for Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. The evaluation starts now. Let's talk about it. Get your questions in. Hashtag Giants or Super Chat. All Super Chats that are applicable will go into the mailbag. Jaquicks coming back with another $5 Super Chat. What's going on, my man? Do you think we will re-sign Isaiah Simmons? If so, what will be the contract? Thank you for the channel. I would like to have Isaiah Simmons back. I don't think he's a starting linebacker on this team. I do think he has a role on this team. My guy in the middle is Bobby Okereke, and I like Micah McFadden a lot. I think Simmons does complement those guys well, and I think if you bring in a guy like Mike Zimmer, Simmons would be an awesome fit into that like he was in a Wink Martindale defense. But I could see if Wink does get out of his contract or whatever happens and he's allowed to be a DC next year, I could see a couple of players from the Giants following Wink Martindale there. And I think Isaiah Simmons is a guy to keep your eye on when it comes to that topic. What does a contract look like for him? 3 years, $10 million? 2 years, $7.5 million? Something like that. That's about as high as I would go for a rotational linebacker and a sub-package linebacker, a guy that's on the field, mainly on second and third down, passing downs. Good player, not a great player. Someone I like on this team, like the athleticism and the versatility that he provides, but I'm not breaking the bank for a guy like Isaiah Simmons. Thank you, Jaquicks. My man. We got 280 people watching. If you haven't yet, please hit that thumbs up icon. We should, at minimum, be at 140 likes. Can we get at least a 50% participation rate? Please hit that thumbs up icon. And if you have liked the video, drop a me in the comment section. We're about to go through my perfect offseason plan, my 10-step plan to get the Giants back on the train tracks of success in the National Football League. Patrick Seaman, I'm pretty excited for this one.
I think you guys, like my favorite one's the second step. That is personally mine. And You guys will see why.
We're talking OC. We're talking about who should be the play caller. We're talking about the defensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, what to do with Barkley, McKinney, how the Giants to draft, a couple of free agent targets, and so much more. 280 people watching. Hit that thumbs up icon. Let's get to 100 likes, and let's go. Welcome into Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and the offseason is here. It's really offseason number 3 for Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll as the head decision makers for the New York Football Giants. Really offseason 2, though, where they've had any sort of cap flexibility. And this team, they need an infusion of talent. They need to make moves to get themselves back on a track that they could be a competent and winning franchise for a long period of time. So in today's video, I'm going to go through my 10-step perfect offseason plan for the Giants to get back to competing in the NFC East. Before we do that, though, I got to make sure everybody watching is subscribed. If you're looking for daily Giants content this offseason, subscribe to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports, because I can promise you, I can guarantee you, there's not any other Giants YouTube channel out there that will put more content out this offseason than we do. We don't take days off. So subscribe, turn your notifications on, and let's start subbing for New York Giants dubs in 2024. Step 1 of the perfect offseason plan for the New York Giants is to hire the best offensive line coach in the world, and that is Mike Munchak. And what I like about Mike Munchak is a lot of different things. 1, he had a 12-year career in the National Football League, and he was a Hall of Famer. 2, he's been an offensive line coach for some of the best running attacks in NFL history. He was the offensive line coach for the Titans and the Oilers for 14 years. He was the Titans head coach for 3 years. He was the Steelers offensive line coach for 5 years. And he was the Denver Broncos offensive line coach for 3 years. When people talk about going out and spending big time money on an offensive line coach because it doesn't count against your salary cap, they're talking about a guy like Mike Munchak. This is someone who is widely regarded in NFL circles as the best in the business when it comes to it. Thing is, he hasn't coached the last couple of years, but he talked in May of last year and said, yeah, I do miss it. I definitely have interest if the right opportunity comes up. Now that I have these things behind me, he had some knee injuries, some knee surgeries he had, to get back into coaching. If Mike Munchak wants to be a coach in the National Football League, John Mara, back up the Brinks truck and give him a blank check. It doesn't matter how much you pay an offensive line coach. That doesn't restrict me when building a roster. There is no salary cap on your coaching staff. The biggest problem that has surrounded the New York Giants since Eli Manning won that last Super Bowl for them is the lackluster play on the offensive line and the lack of development that has happened on that front 5. Mike Munchak, he could fix that. That should be the hire for Big Blue. Step number 2, replace Wink Martindale with Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer is my number 1 candidate to be the next coordinator on the defensive side of the ball for Wink Martindale. He is my number 1 Wink Martindale replacement. What do I want in him? What do I want in my next DC? Pretty much exactly everything Mike Zimmer is. He's been an NFL coach in this league. And with Brian Daboll, in my opinion, needing to have a stronger focus on the offense, he needs to just toss the keys to someone on the defensive side and say, Zimmer, go call plays. Get me back to that Vikings 2017 defense that was the best in the NFL. Number 1 in points per game, number 2 in rushing yards per game, number 2 in pass yards per game, number 1 in yards per play, and the number 1 third down percentage. Another reason I like Mike Zimmer is the relationship that he has with Andre Patterson, the defensive line coach for the New York Giants. Zimmer and Patterson, they're best friends. I don't actually know if that's true, but they did work together from 2014 to 2022. And actually, Mike Zimmer had Andre Patterson as his co-defensive coordinator for 2 seasons, and he was also the assistant head coach. So they have a good relationship. I want to keep Patterson around. I love what he did with Jordan Riley. I love what he did with Dexter Lawrence. I've seen what he's done already with a guy like DJ Davidson. I would love to keep him around. Mike Zimmer's my number 1 guy. He's aggressive. He likes to play downhill. He likes to get after the quarterback, and the Giants have a lot of young DBs, and he is known as a guy that can develop young DBs like Deonte Banks. Mike Zimmer, that should be the D coordinator for this football team. Let's stay on the coaching staff. I don't think the Giants should fire Mike Kafka. I have heard that Mike Kafka may want to leave. If he does, so be it. If he stays, I don't really care. Brian Daboll, the time is now. Step up to the plate. Become the play caller for the New York Football Giants. You were hired for one reason and one reason only, Brian, to fix the offense. You weren't hired to be a game manager. You weren't hired to be the CEO and the guy that just operates in every pocket of this football team. You were hired to fix this offense for what you did when you raised Buffalo to being one of the best teams in the NFL with Josh Allen. Do it. Your back's against the wall. Year 3's around the corner. If the Giants have another season like they did this year, next year, you may be fired. And a way you can save that is go and be the play caller, because this offense has to get better. It needs you to fix it. Go and do it. Now the NFL draft. We've talked about the staff. I have been pretty vocal about going out and drafting a quarterback. And I still think that is a very viable option for the New York Football Giants. But I am of the opinion that the Giants should draft the best player available on the board. The Giants need more good football players. If it's a quarterback, fine. If it's an offensive lineman, fine. If it's a playmaker, fine. Get the best player that is available at pick number 6 and make him a New York Giant. This is my big board, my top 6 big board. My big boards going forward are only going to have 6 players, because I only need to love 6 players because I am picking 6 overall. Number 1 is Caleb Williams. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. Number 2 is Drake May. Number 3 is Marvin Harrison. I've got Jaden Daniels at number 4, and I got the tackles at back-to-back when it comes to slot 5 and slot 6. I got Joe Wald out of Notre Dame at 5, and I got Olu Fashanu, the offensive tackle at Penn State, number 6. You are going to have one of those players on the board at pick 6. Go and get the best one. Because you have other picks in premium spots that you can use to fill positions of need. You have a second-round pick, 2 second-round picks, number 39 and 47. You have 3 picks inside the top 47, and you have pick number 70. You have 4 picks in the top 70. Go get the best player on the board at number 6, and let's hope we draft an All-Pro and potentially a Hall of Famer. I just showed you my 6 guys that I want the New York Giants to draft. Who do you want Joe Schoen to make the next member of this organization? Let me know in the comments section. Who do you want to see wearing a Giants draft hat after pick number 6? Coming up next, what should the Giants do with Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney? Both players are set to enter NFL free agency, and Joe Schoen is going to have to make a very calculated decision on both playmakers from both sides of the ball. We'll break that down. I'll give you my take on it. But first, I got to tell you guys about our proud sponsor, Factor. Go to factormeals.com/GiantsChat50. Use the promo code GiantsChat50 and get 50% off. Look, I live a busy lifestyle. I work a lot of nights. I cover Knicks games. I work Sundays during the NFL season. Sometimes 50, 60-hour weeks. I don't have time to go to the grocery store. I don't like doing it. And I've tried the whole meal prepping thing before, and I feel like after a week, I'm just done with it. And that was until I got hooked up with Factor. Chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals, fresh, never frozen, and they have types of meals that will fit your lifestyle. Low-calorie meals, low-carb meals, high protein, and you can get it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I love the smoothies. I'm a huge fan of Factor. You guys should check it out. FactorMeals.com/GiantsChat50. Promo code GiantsChat50. All righty. So we talked about drafting the best player available at pick number 6. If no QB in round 1, you have to sign a veteran quarterback. You have to go out and get a guy that can help either A, Daniel Jones take that next step, B, make sure that he has to earn that job, or C, if Daniel Jones gets hurt or plays bad again, he can fill that role. I've got 5 guys I'm keeping my eye on. I'm interested in bringing a guy back like Tyrod Taylor. I think Tyrod Taylor, no doubt about it, was the best quarterback on this team this year. I'm also interested in a guy like Jacoby Brissett. He's been multiple places, and he's done a good job everywhere. What about a veteran like Ryan Tannehill? I'd be interested in that if the price is right. Sam Darnold intrigues me, as well as Jameis Winston. If you want a backup quarterback that's going to come in and sling the pill and maybe run a halfback dive when you call a quarterback kneel, Jameis is your guy. 30 touchdowns, maybe 30 interceptions. as well. We saw this year, not just from the Giants, across the National Football League, how important it is to have a good, serviceable, and a guy that can win you a couple games at the backup quarterback position. I think the Giants need to invest there, even if you don't draft a rookie quarterback. I also think there's two quarterbacks, after watching my initial tape on the quarterbacks, there's two guys that I wouldn't mind taking in round 3, round 4, or round 5. I've been on record talking about I only want to take quarterbacks in the first round, but someone like Spencer Rattler, who is going to have the best pro day of recent memory, is someone that intrigues me. I think a guy like him, who's extremely talented, a little bit raw, but literally has a limitless ceiling and one of the best arms in this draft, if not the best. Him with Brian Daboll could make a lot of sense. Another quarterback that I would like to see the Giants target in the later rounds is Joe Milton of Tennessee. 6'5", 235 pounds, 7 rushing TDs this year, and he could throw the football probably 90 yards in the air. When you're talking about Brian Daboll, I'm not saying these guys are ready to play, ready to be franchise quarterbacks. That's why it says developmental at the top of the screen. Get a guy that Brian Daboll thinks that he can take to that next step, to unlock their game, to help them mature in this league. Joe Milton, Spencer Rattler, 2 QBs I'd like to see the Giants look at in the middle to late rounds. Step number 6, and it's all caps for a reason. Fix the offensive line. Fix the offensive line. Fix the offensive line. The Giants have to do it. The Giants finally need to get it right. Coming into the offseason, they have $34.8 million in cap space. If you cut Mark Lewinsky, that saves about $5.7 million. So you're going to enter the offseason with about $41 million in cap space. Please, Joe Schoen, use some of it to sign a proven player. I got a little bit of a bone to pick with Joe Schoen. That's my guy. You guys know I've been a huge fan of him. He was one of my top replacements to be the next GM 2 off seasons ago. You can go check the videos on the channel. When Joe Schoen took over as the Giants general manager, the biggest problem with this team was the offensive line. It's day 2 of offseason number 3, and it is still the biggest problem. Fix it. Please. I'm begging you. 2 offensive line free agent targets I'm looking at. Both come from the Miami Dolphins. Robert Hunt, the guard. He's going to get a lot of money. But that's what good players get on the O-line. A lot of money. Giants need to get a guy like Robert Hunt. And if you strike out on Hunt, maybe a guy like Connor Williams. I know he's coming off an ACL. Maybe the price is down a little bit, but he was ranked as one of the best centers in this league, and he has the ability to play guard. He did that with the Dallas Cowboys. These are 2 guys I am looking to sign on the interior offensive line. Let's talk about Saquon Barkley. What do I think they should do? I think it should be a franchise tag. I do. Saquon Barkley will be 27 years old this offseason. And the history and data shows us that running backs do not get better as they age. It's the opposite. It's the fastest drop-off of any position in this league. I think Saquon Barkley is great. That's why I'm willing to pay him $12.4 million. But he is injury-prone. And I'm not ready to commit a long-term, lucrative contract to him, no matter how much I love him and no matter how much I think he is an important piece and could be on a Super Bowl winning team. I would franchise tag him. Or, I said franchise tag only. But I've opened up, I've relaxed, I've thought about it, I've taken the emotion out of this situation. There's 2 options. You franchise tag him, or you give him this contract right here. 2 years, $22 million with $15 million guaranteed. I'm giving you more than the franchise tag, and I'm giving you a second year. That's what I would do. Franchise tag or right here. That's what I'm doing with Barkley. Well, you know what? There's nothing you could do. You franchise tag him. If he doesn't show up, that's his problem. He ain't doing that. He cares too much about this team and his image. Saquon Barkley would not do that. Next step, do not overpay Xavier McKinney. Do not do it. Xavier McKinney is a damn good football player. There is no doubt about it. I mean, look at the stats on screen. He was 91.2 coverage grade this year, first amongst safeties. He was the 4th tackling grade amongst safeties. He had an 87.8 overall grade, 4th amongst safeties. And he had a 53 passer rating when targeted, 3 interceptions. But look what he said right here. This is his Instagram story. Men lie, women lie, numbers never lie. Top five, top five, top five. The Giants cannot afford to pay Xavier McKinney top 5 safety money. Are we going to pay Xavier McKinney $16 million per year? Is that what we're going to do? I think he's damn good. I think he's a really good football player. I want him on this team. I think he is a leader. There's a reason he was a captain the last 2 years. But I can't pay him anywhere remotely close to $16 million per year, and I can't pay him anything close to $14 million per year. 3 years, $30 million. I'll give you 20 guaranteed. That's about as high as I could go for Xavier McKinney. I'm pretty confident in saying this, though. One of these two players will never play again for the Giants. So pick one of them to keep. Who do you want back next year more? Because there's no way you're paying him, and there's no way you're paying him. And if you do, that means you didn't address the O-line. So type 29 for X or 26 for Saquon. I think the Giants also need to add another playmaker, whether that be in the draft, whether that be a trade, whether that be in free agency. The Giants need to leave the NFL offseason with adding multiple playmakers. A guy that I am going to be looking at in NFL free agency is Darnell Mooney. And is Darnell Mooney a number 1 option? No. Is Darnell Mooney a number 2 option? Maybe not. But in 2021, the man had 81 receptions for 1,000 yards, had more than 13 yards per catch and 4 touchdowns. I don't love that he's 5'11", but the dude is a talent, and he is a playmaker with the ball in his hands. Does he fix your wide receiver needs? No. But he is the guy that I'm going to be looking at, as he is going to be a free agent, and the Chicago Bears are not going to bring him back. Pro Football Focus, they have a contract projection for Darnell Mooney, and it's 1 year for $9 million, and I'm not sure he's going to get that, and I'm not sure I would go that high. I love Wan'Dale Robinson. I believe Isaiah Hodgins is a rotational piece. I think Darius Slayton is damn good, and I like Jalen Hyatt's future. But you got to get another playmaker. I don't know if you can afford to go get a top 10 guy. I don't know if you can afford to go get T. Higgins. Darnell Mooney is somewhat interesting to me. I think the ability for him to create separation, we know that Joe Shane values that, and his ability to get north and south after he catches the football, that's going to appeal well to the scouting department. 10 things to do. Hire Mike Munchak. Pay him whatever he wants. Get him out of retirement. Fix the O-line for once and all. Hire Mike Zimmer as your defensive coordinator. Get it done. He's the best on the market, and he'd fix this team. Brian Daboll, be the play caller. It's your turn. Get it done or get out. It's that simple. Draft the best player at 6. If no QB in round 1, sign a veteran quarterback. Fix the offensive line. That should be step 1. But you're doing that by helping a guy, hiring a guy like Mike Munchak. Franchise tag Barkley. Re-sign McKinney if it's fair. Don't overpay. Add another playmaker or 2 in the draft. And then sign Darnell Mooney in free agency. It's not the home run thing, but it's going to be affordable, and I think he could be a nice player that elevates his production in another situation. The offense has been a mess in Chicago. We know that for a fact. 1,000 yards, 80 catches. I'll take that every day of the week. Grade my offseason plan for me. I want you to be honest with me. If I don't get at least 1 F, that means that you guys weren't being honest. So get out your red pen and let me know what your grade is for my offseason plan, A, B, C, D, or F. If you made it this far in the video, I kindly ask you to hit that thumbs up icon. We put a lot of work into this video. Longer one, no doubt about it. But I had a lot of things I had to say, and the Giants have to do a lot of things to fix this football team. So hit that thumbs up icon, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. Oh, man.
I liked it. The Darnell Mooney thing was interesting to me.
There's not that many good free agent wide receivers.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm thinking about just like the style of receiver he is a little similar to a couple of the guys.
I don't think so, honestly. I think he's an outside receiver.
Yeah.
Wan'Dale's going to be your slot. If anything, he's similar to Slayton.
Yeah.
Slayton's more of a deep threat. His ability to create separation.
No, he's a great route runner.
I think he's the type of guy, look, and obviously that's not day 1 of free agency, but like when you go through the wide receivers in free agency, and we can do that, like, are the Giants giving T. Higgins $25 million? I don't think so. Are the Giants paying Mike Evans big-time money? I don't think so. Do we want Odell Beckham Jr.? Like, I just that's just not really what I'm looking to do this year. I mean, look, I would like for the Giants to draft a receiver in round 2 and get Darnell Mooney. But I don't know. Only so many dollars and cents to go around, Patrick Seaman.
If you had to pick one thing out of all that, what would you have picked to happen?
Pick one thing?
Like, especially out of those top 3.
It would probably the coordinators. The coordinators.
Yeah.
Zimmer and not coordinator, but Munchak as the offensive line coach. That's what I'm looking at, man. They have to get somebody that can develop these guys.
Yeah.
They've already invested in them so much. Like, so T. Higgins, we paying him. He's probably going to get franchise tag. That's what Pro Football Focus thinks. Do we want Michael Pittman, who they project to be franchise tag? Do we want Mike Evans, who's going to sign a 3-year, $70 million deal to them? I'd like to have him. He's a damn good football player. Do the Giants have that type of money?
No.
Are we paying Hollywood Brown 1 year, $12 million? You already have Hollywood Brown and Jalen Hyatt. Are we signing Calvin Ridley? Would love that. I don't think he gets out of Jacksonville. I think it's a franchise tag. You know who the next ranked receiver is by Pro Football Focus? Darnell Mooney. They have him as the 60th best free agent. Do we want Gabe Davis? I don't. He stinks. Do I want Odell Beckham? That'd be cool. He's older, though. Do we want Tyler Boyd? I'd be interested in Tyler Boyd. I think Mooney's going to be a better player somewhere else, though. Do I want to sign Curtis Samuel? No. Do I want Kendrick Bourne? No. Those are all the guys in the top 100. So, I don't know. That's just my take on that. That is my take on that. We do got a mailbag coming up in a second. Get your questions in. # Giants or Super Chat to get on the show. Let's draft targets? Let's do it. Draft targets. Let's go. The NFL offseason is here, and it's one of my favorite times of the year. And I'm curious, what do you like more as a fan? Is it free agency? Is it the NFL draft? Let me know what you think down below. The New York Giants are going to be picking number 6 overall in the 2024 NFL Draft following the NFL season. So in today's video, I went and looked at Mel Kiper's most recent updated big board. And I'm going to choose the 6 players off that big board that I would like for the Giants to draft. Because if they draft any of these 6 players, I will give them an A+ grade. You only need to love 6 guys. Joe Shane, when he had pick number 5 and pick number 7, when he picked Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, said he went into draft night loving 7 players. And he knew no matter what happened, he was going to get one of those 7 guys. So we're going to do the same thing today. The Giants need to love 6 players. I'm going to show you my top 6 guys that I think the Giants should be looking at. Number 1 on my big board is Caleb Williams. And number 1 on Mel Kiper's big board, obviously, is Caleb Williams as well. I think he's a superstar quarterback in the making. I think wherever he goes, you're going to have a franchise guy, no doubt about it. Do I have a little bit of off-the-field concerns? Yeah, but I have that with almost every single 19, 20-year-old kid that's already made millions in their life. But when you talk about talent, when you talk about what he could do for a franchise if he hits, he's going to take you from number 1, number 2 in the draft to maybe number 32 in a couple of years. Why are we even talking about Caleb Williams? Marshall, there's no way we can get him. Well, the Giants have the draft ammunition to move up if they need to. Pick number 6, pick number 39, pick number 47, and pick number 70. So if the Giants identify Caleb Williams as a franchise-changing quarterback, you can easily trade up. You may have to give up a player you don't want to. We've got to trade around the corner. But I want to go to what Jordan Renan had to say on the Michael Kay show just last week. This team is not going to shy away from taking a quarterback if the opportunity arises for a guy that they really like. If the Bears and Cardinals are the 2 teams picking at 1 and 2, and one of the 2 and 1 or 2 are looking to trade their picks, I don't think it's out of the question that the Giants will look to move up. So Jordan Renan works for ESPN, a beat reporter, said it's not out of the question for the Giants to move up. Well, CBS Sports, they did a mock draft just this week. And they had a mock trade that the Giants would have to make to move up to number 1. You'd give up your first round pick this year. You'd give up your second round pick, pick 39. You'd give up pick number 105, a fourth rounder, and a first rounder in 2025, a third rounder in 2025, and Darius Slayton. Would you make this trade? Would you trade all of that to get up to number 1 and draft either Caleb Williams or Drake May? You would still have a second round pick this year. You would still have your third round pick this year. But you would not have a first or a third next year. Type A for accept, type D for decline. I'm curious, would you make this deal? This is an easy accept. This is an easy accept. You still have a second round pick this year. You still have a third round pick this year where you can go and get a playmaker and where you can go and get some offensive line help or hell, draft 2 offensive linemen. I think Caleb Williams is going to be legit in this league. I think he's going to compete for MVPs and for Lombardi trophies. And he can take the Giants to the next level. I would trade up. And honestly, if the team picking second offered me that same haul for Drake May, I'd do it. I would do it. Because I believe in the philosophy. If you think a quarterback is a franchise guy and he can win a Super Bowl, you do whatever it takes to go and get them. And I believe that with Caleb Williams, and I believe that with Drake May. If there is a trade on the table where the Giants just absolutely are not giving up the farm, like this trade idea that CBS wrote, not me, that's theirs, I would do it. Are the Giants a quarterback away from competing? No. But they are a quarterback away from competing, if you know what I mean, because they didn't compete much this year. Number 3 on my big board is Marvin Harrison Jr. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to walk into the National Football League and be a top 15, top 20 receiver. I said in the last video we talked about him, he reminded me of A.J. Green and someone said that was disrespectful. A.J. Green's going to the Hall of Fame. A.J. Green was one of the best receivers in the NFL history. And this guy reminds me of him. 6'4", a little slender, multiple spots on the field. He can operate out of slot outside. He can run deep routes. He can run intermediate routes. He's a tactician. If somehow he falls to number 6, yeah, he looked pretty good wearing the big blue. Coming up next, I'm going to dissect the idea if the Giants should draft Jaden Daniels. Let's say they stick at 6, and Caleb Williams goes 1, and Drake May goes 2, and Marvin Harrison is gone. And Jaden Daniels is on the clock at 6. Should Joe Shane pull the trigger? I'll break that down in a second. But I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Factor. Go to factormeals.com/GiantsChat50. Use the promo code GiantsChat50 and get 50% off. The new year is here, and you should start it by giving Factor meals a try. Factor has fresh, never frozen meals that take just 2 minutes in the microwave to heat up. They taste awesome, and they also will keep you on track with your fitness goals. And you save 50% off with promo code GiantsChat50. If you've tried the whole meal prepping thing, you've tried the whole going to the grocery store thing and being responsible, and it didn't work out, you can be responsible by getting hooked up with Factor. Factormeals.com/GiantsChat50. Promo code GiantsChat50 down in the comment section is the link. It's clickable. Go and check it out. Number 4 on my big board is Jaden Daniels. So, by that logic, yes, I would select him at number 6 if he was on the board when the Giants were on the clock. I think he's an unreal talent. Do I have a little concern that he's a little light in the pants? Yeah, I don't love that he's 6'4" and maybe 210 pounds. That's program weight, and we know what they do with that. I bet he comes in closer to 6'3", 205 pounds, or maybe he is 210, 215, but it's a lot of water weight. What I think he can be in a Brian Daboll system is an MVP of this league. Brian Daboll took a very similar prospect in Josh Allen and made him one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe the best player in the NFL. I also love that Jaden Daniels has gotten better and better every year of his career. He started in college football for 5 seasons. He upped his completion percentage, almost 5% in year 1 and year 2 to LSU. Threw for almost 4,000 yards this year. Only threw 7 interceptions in the last 2 years. And he's also an electric player with the ball in his hands. Over 1,000 yards this year, 10 touchdowns last year. It's the growth, it's the progression, and it's the talent that I think Josh Allen has. I don't think he's the power runner that Josh Allen is. That's not even close. But the dual threat ability in a Daboll offense where they like to throw the ball deep, I think Daniels makes a whole lot of sense. If he's on the clock at number 6, and you got to make the call for this organization, would you draft Jaden Daniels? I'm doing it. What do you think? Type D for draft, type P for pass. I'm curious what the real ones say. At 5 and 6, I've got the 2 tackles, and they come in the order of Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu. One of these 6 football players needs to be a member of this organization. And they would be very, very lucky if Giants got their hands on any of these guys. It's time. It's offseason 3. Offseason 1 problems are still here, and that's the offensive line. It's time to fix it. Invest in it. Do it. Get it done. If all those guys are gone and you got Alt or Fashanu on the board, take them because they fix a problem and they fill a very, very big need. I have Joe Alt above Olu Fashanu. I like the pedigree. I think he is more consistent. I think he's more pro-ready, whereas Fashanu may have the higher ceiling, but he's still learning the game. Only started playing football full-time in high school, but he is an amazing, amazing athlete. I'll take the guy that's already done it for 3 years at Notre Dame. Give me Joe Alt over Olu Fashanu, but if he's there at 6 and he's the only one of those guys on the screen that's on the board left, I'd take him. Because you got to get this O-line right. If you don't, Joe Shane, you might be fired after this season. Because I don't think that John Mayer is going to go through another year where you allow a quarterback to be sacked almost 100 times. Not one quarterback. That's wrong. Because the O-line got the quarterbacks hurt. 3 quarterbacks. 3. Who do you want the Giants to draft? For me, it's one of those 6 guys. I like Malik Neighbors. I like Brock Bowers. I like Roma Dunze. They're not a top 6 pick for me. That's just my opinion. What's yours? Give me a guy you want to see wearing big blue on draft night. As always, you can follow me over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. I'm tweeting about the Giants all day, every day. I'm trying to grow my following over there. So give me a follow. And if you send me a DM saying top 6, I'll give you a follow back. You got to fix the O-line. You also need a quarterback. Those are the 6 guys I'd roll with. Olu Fashanu, maybe, Mel Kiper said Olu Fashanu could go 1 in past drafts.
Yeah.
I hope he's not Evan Neal. I don't know if I've just psyched myself out that he is Evan Neal. I think he's way better at an athlete than he is. But the more plug-and-play guy is Joe Alt. And if Joe Alt is the pick, I'm going to be dancing on our live stream for the draft.
That would be electric.
We're going to close out today's show with a mailbag. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We've got 400 people watching right now. Had already over 2,000 people tune in today. Shout out to the real ones. We're going to hold it down all off season long. This is going to be your go-to spot. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Turn the notifications on and get your questions in for this mailbag. #Giants or Super Chat. All Super Chats that are applicable. We'll put them in the show. How are we looking on questions, Patrick Seaman? Very good. I would say just to be safe, avoid DC and Wink, just in case it happens before that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it will. I think it's not, but more information may come out. So if you can, Wink questions. I don't know. Do you think they'll hire a guy by Sunday? No? You think any juice is going to come out between then? Yeah. Honestly, put it in there. It's fine. If I have to put it out earlier, I'll put it out earlier. I could put draft targets out on Sunday. The Yankees are reportedly ready to pull the trigger on a potential Dylan Cease trade. No idea who that is. Nasty pitcher? Yankees are getting a good pitcher? I'm a big Yankees guy, if you can't tell. All right. 370 people watching. Hit that thumbs up icon. Up to $40 in Super Chats. Shout out to you guys. If we get to 100 today, we're going to do a beer shotgun race. $100 in Super Chats today. We're going to do a beer shotgun race. We're 60 away. Shout out to all the real ones in the chat. Trying to fly a little bit through this live show. We got to be live on Knicks in 25 minutes. But shout out to everybody tuned in. Steven, Point Prod, Joey DeLuca, Cha. I saw Corinne. I saw Gilly. All the real ones are in here. Shout out to you guys. Lock it in. Hit that thumbs up icon. And let's ride. Welcome into Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We're about to get into a mailbag on today's show, which came from our live show this past week, and I want you to be there next week. It was awesome. We had a lot of fun, and I just love going back and forth with the real ones. So subscribe, turn notifications on so you can get alerted when we go live next week. First question coming in from my guy, Jaquicks. $5 super chat as well. Thank you, my man. Do you think we will re-sign Isaiah Simmons? If so, what will be the contract? Thank you. Love the channel. Thank you. Love you. Appreciate that. I am interested in bringing a guy like Isaiah Simmons back, but for the right price. I do wonder if he would follow a guy like Wink Martindale somewhere else if he does become the DC somewhere else. See a guy like Jihad Ward doing that. He came to New York because of Wink. I would re-sign Isaiah Simmons, but I'm not breaking the bank for him. 3 years, $10 million, 2 years, $8 million. That's about as high as I would go. I like his versatility, but I think the Giants are better when Micah McFadden and Bobby Okereke are on the field. I do like his ability to be a pass rusher, and I think he would fit with some of the defensive coordinators that I've heard are being talked about as potential Wink Martindale replacements. I'm just not breaking the bank for a sub-package linebacker, but I would like to have him back at the right price. I think he's a good football player, and I like the athleticism he brings on that side of the ball. Giants suck again. I hate when this guy tunes in. Could the Giants trade for a wide receiver like Davante Adams? Could they? Yeah. Should they? As good as Davante Adams is, I'm going to say no. And for a couple of reasons. As I look at these stats and they tell me he's had more than 100 catches in the last 4 years. I'm going to say no. And it's not because of the player. It's not because of the talent. It's because of the cost. Giants have two way more glaring problems. Offensive line and quarterback. And you're going to need cap money and you're going to need picks to get that done. Mitchell Renz of the Raiders report tells me you're not really going to have to pay anything for Adams if you trade him. The Raiders already paid him for this upcoming year. So maybe that doesn't hurt you there. But that also makes him, I think, more expensive in a trade. Because if you're the Raiders and you could tell a team you only got to pay him the veteran minimum, we want 2 first-round picks back because it doesn't cost as much. I'm not willing to give up the assets that it's going to cost to get him. Shoot, I'm saying that because I believe it would cost a first plus. You can get him for a second, sure. You can get him for a second and third, sure. But I don't think you're acquiring Davante Adams, who's had almost 500 catches in the last 4 years and almost 7,000 receiving yards, for a second or third round pick. I think it's going to be a first round pick. And for that reason, I would say no. Because the Giants need to use that first round pick and help this team for now and the future. What do you say? Type T for trade, type P for pass. Adam Schefter reported during the season that the Raiders are going to be open to trading Davante Adams. They almost traded him to the Jets. They're going to explore it once again with a new head coach in there and a new GM. I'll listen, but I'm not going to overpay. Sahagan's Detailing, my man. What's up, bro? Appreciate you stopping by and appreciate the super chat. We should get rid of Kafka and sign Dorsey. I'm not sure you're going to fire. I don't think you're firing Mike Kafka. I think it would have already happened at this point. But Jordan Renan has reported, Ryan Dunleavy has reported that he may want out. That's what Wink Martindale wanted. We told you that. It happened. I'm going to believe the reporters on this one. I think they know that Brian Daboll is hard to work with. And if I'm Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll wants to take play calling away from me, I want to go be the OC somewhere else. I already won a playoff game as an OC. I made Daniel Jones look good. I would like to keep him because the offense I saw run the last 2 weeks with Tyrod Taylor throwing the ball, the #1 big play throw rate in the National Football League. Yeah, I would like a big-time quarterback in that offense. But I want Brian Daboll calling the plays. And if you do lose Kafka, Ken Dorsey's on the top of my list, no doubt about it. Mike G! Mike G, what up, man? Shout out to you. Best initials in the game. What up, MG? Sup, brother? Who is your dream trade target or free agency signing? Any position? Just wondering. Appreciate you as always. I want offensive linemen. I know that's so boring. Go give me Robert Hunt. Go give me Connor Williams. What about, all right, this one may be a little crazy. And I don't think it's that likely. I actually don't think it's likely at all. I'd like a 1-year deal for Tyron Smith to come be your right tackle. Steal him away from the Cowboys. I know he's old. I know he's got injury issues. But you need a right tackle. And maybe that gives you 1 more year of like trying to kick the can down the road if you don't get a guy. I don't know. There's nobody really in free agency that I would absolutely splurge on. I'd love to go get Jalen Johnson. I think he's a damn good cornerback, and I'd love to have an ace next to Deonte Banks. There's only so many pieces of the pizza pie to go around, and I want to bring back Barkley. I want to bring back Xavier McKinney. I ain't paying him massive money, but I'd like to bring him back. I also would like to get an edge rusher. What about Josh Allen? I think he's pretty damn good. There's a lot of guys out there. I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, that's my take on that. Brian Brown. Thank you for the super chat, man. Daboll made TD look good. He can with JJ second round. JJ McCarthy. We got a lot of JJ McCarthy fans here. Patrick Seatman, producer of this show, big time JJ McCarthy guy. Look, you won a national championship. I respect that. He didn't mess it up. That deserves credit. I wouldn't hate JJ in the second. I wouldn't hate it. I'm just scared if they draft him, he would just be Daniel Jones 2.0. That's just my fear. We're going to get to more questions in a second, but I just got to let you guys know, if you go to chatsports.com/Giants chatsports.com/Giants hoodies. That's chatsports.com/Giants hoodies. There are Giants hoodies that are on sale. It's cold. I'm a hoodie guy. Get a hoodie. Save some bread and look swagged up in the new year. Chatsports.com/Giants hoodies. Johnson Yu with a $5 super chat. What's up, man? See anything promising in terms of QB for Michigan versus Washington? I am still a Michael Penix fan, and I know it's a cool thing to say he's not good anymore, but I do think that last night showed that he does not deal with pressure all that well. No shit. What quarterback absolutely thrives under pressure? There's not a lot of them. Those guys get paid hundreds and hundreds of $1 million. But I believe in the arm. I believe in the tape. I believe in my eyes. I still think Penix is a good player. I just wouldn't take him at number 6 overall. I know in the past I've said maybe. I'm not taking Michael Penix at number 6. J.J. McCarthy, I think he's a second or third round grade in my book. The intangibles, though, as Patrick Seatman says, A+. First round intangibles. I got to cover him in high school. I got to talk to him, interview him. He was the most well-spoken 18-year-old I've ever spoken to in my life. He would thrive in the New York media. I'm just shooting for a little bit more talent than that. I want a generational QB. Not sure if Penix or McCarthy is that guy. Ryan Liskowitz. My man, good to see you back in the chat. Appreciate the $5 super chat. I think the Giants should pass on a QB in the first round and go for O-line or wide receiver because can just cut DJ after next season if it does not work out. So one more ride. One more chance. The final countdown for Daniel Jones. That's what you want to do. I don't think it's the wrong move. I think it might happen. I don't want to talk about Daniel Jones anymore. I don't want to watch Daniel Jones play football wearing a New York Giants uniform anymore. What's more likely? He turns out to be good next year, or you draft a guy and he's good. I know what he is at this point. He's a below average quarterback, and you don't win Super Bowls with below average quarterbacks. I'm also worried that they put more on his plate this year. They added more weapons. They opened up the offense, and he regressed. Did the offensive line absolutely screw him over? Yeah, no doubt about it. We all know that. I don't even think we need to bring it up anymore. I don't need to give Daniel Jones one more chance. But I understand this line of thinking. He's on the team next year no matter what. He's not on the team after that. So maybe you just try and build up the team up around him. That way you have a better situation for that rookie QB in 2025 to come. Don't disagree with that at all. Just not what I would do. With that logic, the Bengals should have drafted an offensive lineman over Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had him playing in the Super Bowl. Gary coming in with a $5 super chat. Train down from 6. I actually was thinking about this. Target BPA and O-line BB. I'm a huge BB fan out of Kansas State in round 2. I think QB bias could really play in our favor in terms of spot value and a ton of quality mid-first round. I literally was thinking to myself, is it a bad idea to trade down? And my thought was no, because what if you can get a first-round pick for next year? And what if you roll with Liskowitz's line of thinking? You trade down, you select an offensive lineman, you get an extra first-round pick in 2025. That way you have more draft ammunition to go trade up in 2025 to get your quarterback. I don't hate that line of thinking. But I also think you should just take the best player at 6 because this team needs more best players. But I would not hate it. There's multiple ways Joe Schoen can go. And this one has become intriguing to me. Gary, great way to think. A lot of talent in this draft. Also, Cooper Beebe. He just sounds like a stud. Give me the offensive lineman out of Kansas State. I like that. The Bronx Boy! $10 super chat. What's happening, my man? Shane and Daboll fired Winks boys, the Wilkins bros, knowing he'd quit. And now when Philly offers him the job, we can block. Shady motherfuckers. That's chestnut checkers. That's chestnut checkers right there. And you're 100% right. What did Brian Daboll say Monday morning? The expectation is for Wink Martindale to be back. What did he do? He hit the ball into his court. He said, Wink, it's your move. But before you make that move, I'm going to fire your right-hand mans, the Wilkins bros, the guys that's been with you with Baltimore. Reportedly was going to be your DC if you got that Indianapolis Colts job. So why would Wink stay if he hates Daboll and he just fired his 2 best friends? Giants don't want to fire him because they know he's damn good. And if they fire him, he'd be the Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator. And I'm not trying to play Wink Martindale 2 times a year. You shady motherfuckers. But I'm in on it. The Bronx Boy, thank you, my man. Thank you. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are going to continue to crush it this offseason. Videos every day for free on the latest news and rumors. So subscribe to New York Giants Now by Chat Sports right now. Quicks, back again. Do you think we will re-sign Darius Slayton? If so, what's the contract going to look like? Slayton is still under contract for next year. He signed a 2-year deal last year, so he will be under contract. They could cut him and save $7 million. I used to think that was smart. And then I saw Darius Slayton play with a quarterback that could throw the ball down the field, and Tyrod Taylor, and he had a touchdown for 70 yards, then a touchdown for 80 yards. And he made big play after big play. I'm keeping Slayton because I need a quarterback that could feed him the pill and throw the ball down the field. I think he'd be a good piece on this team, just not really with Daniel Jones. Woo! Let's ride. Jaquicks, appreciate you with the super chat. Yeah, Slayton will be on the team next year unless they cut him. Tiki Badger, my man, $10 super chat. Do you think J.J. McCarthy can develop under Shane and Daboll for a year? Oh, Shea Tierney, the QB coach, until out in DJ's contract. J.J. probably isn't a day 1 starter, but I think he's a great developmental prospect. You know the Spider-Man meme where I'm pointing at you and you're pointing at me? That's Daniel Jones and J.J. McCarthy in quarterback meetings. I do think J.J. is a stronger arm. I do think J.J. is a little bit more athletic. And I like the idea of maybe a J.J. round 2, and that's the guy that puts pressure on Jones if he struggles to start the year. We get to week 6 and we get to week 7, and it's like, you're out, J.J.'s in. Yeah, that's Dustin Jones says, dude just said Slayton will be on the team unless he gets cut. What insight? Yeah, buddy, it's because he just asked if the Giants are going to re-sign him. Thing is, he's under contract, so they can't re-sign him. So he'll be on the team unless they cut him. Dustin, you're just so smart, aren't you? Loser. I wouldn't mind drafting JJ and having him sit behind Jones as he comes back, puts a little pressure on him. I wouldn't be against that. Be better than that, Dustin. Be better than that. What an idiot. What am I supposed to say? Dude asked if we're going to re-sign him. He's not a free agent. So yeah, he'll be on the team unless he's cut. What am I supposed to say, Patrick Seatman? Tiki Badger says, me and my homies hate Dustin. Yeah, Dustin seems really fun at parties. No. Dustin seems really fun at parties. PSN, the leader of the Tommy DeVito fan club. What's up, my man? Marshall. F. Daniel Jones. He is worse than Hurts.
Agreed.
PSN says JJ is horrible.
I could go on a 20-minute rampage on J.J. McCarthy. All I'm saying is, guys, I know the stats aren't going to blow you away. The dude has the highest winning percentage in college football history. He's won in high school, 2 state championships, one at Michigan.
I think he won a natty at IMG, too.
So he's got 3 then.
I think he won the natty at IMG.
The dude wins.
I wouldn't mind him in the second round. I kind of liked what Liskowitz said.
Yeah. I like him a lot in
I just know that
round.
he will forever be compared to Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Speaking of Ryan.
That's my man Ryan Liskowitz back at it. Do you know who we need to sign next year? We can go through the free agents real quick, and then we got to sign off. Free agents for next year. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Adoree Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Tyrod Taylor, Isaiah Simmons, A'Shawn Robinson, Paris Campbell, Xavier McKinney, Jihad Ward, Matt Breida, Casey Kreider, Sterling Shepard, Gerard Davis, Randy Bullock, Matt Peart, J.C. Hassenauer, Darnay Holmes, Gunnar Olszewski, Ben Bredesen, Wyatt Davis, Shane Lemieux, Nick McLeod, Cam Brown, Benton Whitley, Darian Beavers, and Carter Coughlin. Also, Justin Pugh is on that list. So those are the free agents heading into the offseason for the New York Football Giants. Cha says Daniel Jones was 17 and 19 at Duke. Isn't that a good record? That's a good completion to attempts thing. Time Man the Buckeye says hit the gritty Seeps.
Only for a $50 super chat.
What'd you think of my developmental QBs in the perfect offseason?
I mean, I knew Rattler was going to be on here.
Is that a bad idea? You're telling me Rattler in the 4th round's a bad pick?
No, I like it. It'll put some pressure on DJ, too.
And go work with the coach that's unlocked a QB with that type of talent before.
He is just, talk about Caleb Williams being kind of an F-boy. Rattler's
a D-bag. He is a little D-baggy.
He's a little D-baggy, but
he's a little D-baggy.
I mean, the kid's got an arm. He would probably say that about himself. I'm a little bit of a douchebag, but I can hit every blade of grass on the football.
Kind of reminds me of a little Tyrod Taylor chucking that pill.
A little bit.
Easy, slight release.
A little bit.
Ty Man the Buckeye says someone send a 50. If someone sends a 50, we'll do a beer shotgun race. If someone sends 50, we'll do a beer shotgun race. If not, we got to sign off. We got to be live on our Knicks channel in 16 minutes. Knicks play the Blazers tonight. If you're a Knicks fan, check us out. We got 330 people watching. Type in Knicks Now by Chat Sports. It'll come up. Subscribe. We do the same thing we do here on that channel. James Hollister says, do the gritty for 50. Patrick Seatman will gritty the fuck out of himself for 50.
No free gritties, though. No free gritties.
Ty Man says, I'm heading over there. Gilly says, Seeps, I see how it is. What do you do?
We got a lot of super chats today. I didn't even have to go into the hashtag.
We did get a lot of super chats today. Shout out to everybody that tuned in, man.
A lot of ball knowers.
This is our number 1 live show of the year.
Yeah.
Number 1 live show of the year as it's January 9th.
Hell yeah. Go Big Blue.
I mean, we had 400 people watching at one point today. That's really good for us during the week. Joey Lucas says, can't wait to see you on the Knicks. I can't wait to be on the Knicks either and get that NBA paycheck. All right. We're going to sign off. Love you guys. We'll be back with a video tomorrow. Why do I think that 50's coming? I think the 50's coming. Samuel, my man, got your super chat in. Marshall, I love you, brother. But another O-lineman in the first round, I'm too shell-shocked. Hey.
I'm down.
Ain't nobody mad at you for that. Ain't nobody mad at you for that. It's like when, I don't want to make that analogy.
I was so curious where that was going to.
When you touch something hot and you're like, oh, is that hot? This isn't the one I was going to make. But when you touch something and it's hot, you pull your hand back and you're hesitant to touch it again. That's how you are right now, Samuel, just like I am with Evan Neal. Scared money don't make money.
Yeah.
Can't be scared out there. Olu scares me a little bit. Olu scares me a little bit.
Because the pick looks like Evan Neal.
He does give me Evan Neal vibes.
I'm telling you. Joe Alt's
our guy.
Would you trade
that
up?
Dude's he's an NFL dad.
I would trade up to 4 to get him.
I'm not trading up for Joe Alt.
Throw him a 3rd.
No. Maybe. Scared money don't make money. If you just had one baddie, never mind, we're not going there. I'm not going there. Sam, appreciate you, man. Thanks for being a real one. I understand it. I'm not letting it stop me from being great, though. I'm not letting one problem stop me from being great. Let's go. Grim, coming in with a $2 super chat. Grim, appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for being a real one. You got a question? Oh, man, Grim.
Popping in.
Grim was a preseason MVP.
He was.
Grim was a preseason MVP.
That was when DeVito first hit the surface. I remember that.
C-Note says Cooper DeJean at number 6.
He will be out of the NFL in 2 years.
Why do you say that?
You guys know why.
I don't know.
I do. Like, he is one of us. He is one of us. I actually think Cooper DeJean, I will not believe it until I see it. There's a reason we haven't had a white cornerback start since 2003, except for the one dude on the Commanders. You know, listen, I will believe it when I see it.
All right, we're signing off. Love y'all, boys.